Welcome to the Miesha Tate Show. Thanks for listening in. This is my third question and answer fan-inspired podcast episode. And to be honest, I've been having a lot of fun with these. I've been getting a lot of very cool questions, very unique questions. So I thank you guys for that. Remember, for future reference, to keep an eye out for my Facebook fan page or on Twitter. Whenever I prompt, you're welcome to submit your questions for the podcast, and I'm happy to answer them. You ask, I answer. So some hot topics that I want to talk about before I start answering the fan questions. First off, UFC 199. What a crazy night of fights. Absolutely amazing. I'll start with the co-main event. Dominic Cruz went out there and he did his thing for 5 rounds. I was impressed. I have to admit, I did not expect him to come out so fast and so aggressive and engage in the wrestling as much as he did in the first round. But in hindsight, it was pretty genius of him, because I don't think Faber expected that either. And I was really impressed with how he won the wrestling exchanges. And the second round got a knockdown, proved that he has power in his hands, which is something that I think he's been criticized a little bit for, and the fans and some critics. Needless to say, it was a pretty flawless performance. He did a wonderful job. I thought the fight was very entertaining. And the main event, crazy. It's not that I thought Michael Bisping couldn't win at all, by any means. It's not that. I definitely thought he's got the potential to win this fight. And by knockout, I mean, he's got power. Nobody can take that away from him, and a lot of determination. And he just came prepared, which is crazy, because he took the fight on, I think it was 17 days notice, just right around that 2-week mark, which is not a lot of time, considering most champions or title contenders are training for 10 weeks before a title fight. You're training for 5-minute rounds, 25 minutes. That's a lot of time to prepare for. Granted, he finished the fight in the first round, so the question of cardio and everything that you think when taking a short notice fight might come up. We didn't even get to see that. I was surprised, but pleasantly surprised, because I think Bisping has been a contender for a long time. He's been in this sport for a long time, and he's so deserving of this opportunity. He's been a contender. He's been a top 10 guy for years and years and years, and he has certainly put in the work, and he earned that. And I'm really happy that he got the opportunity and that he was able to make the most of it. I thought it was wonderful, spectacular. He made quite a splash. And you know what's even really crazy? I was thinking about this, and I started thinking, man, all the guys that I work with on the Fox analyst work, the Fox desk, almost all of us have title belts now, which is crazy. So there's Dominic Cruz, title holder, now Michael Bisping, there's myself, and Daniel Cormier. So I'm starting to think maybe there's something to this whole analyzing fights and breaking them down. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. And I'm definitely happy for those guys. But rewinding, I did want to address the fights the weekend before that, the Memorial Day weekend fights. So we had Brian Caraway, who I want to give a big shout out to, who took out Aljamain Sterling, who was undefeated. So he's 12-1 now. And Brian was able to take that ranking and jump up to number 4, which is really exciting to crack inside the top 10. These guys work so hard, and there's so many guys in each division. Really, making it inside the top 10 in the UFC is a huge accomplishment. Making it inside the top 5 is a whole other accomplishment. And I know it's been almost a year layoff for Brian, and battling some, injuries that put him out for a long time. But going into this fight, I'm just proud of him in the changes that he was able to make. And I feel like he took out Aljamain with relative ease. He didn't really have to even showcase much of what's in his toolbox, which I feel like is a blessing and a curse, because I feel like, you know, when is he going to get the due credit? I feel like that's always the uphill battle for Brian, is that people don't want to give him the credit, but you can't keep denying him. I mean, he is ranked number 4 and he barely had to do anything to, you know, to take that position. And I just feel like there's so much more that he has to give. And I promise you guys, he is a new fighter. There's something different about Brian. And I would like to give 2 people a shout out in particular. There's always the family, there's always the friends, there's always the team and the coaches who all make the journey as a fighter. They can make such a huge difference, you know. So obviously all those people, goes without saying how important they are. But there's 2 people in my career and in Brian's career I feel like have made a huge difference, especially as of recent. One is our sports doctor. Dr. Edwards has been phenomenal. Everything from getting our blood panels done, just making sure that we are dialed in physically as athletes to the best of our abilities, has been a game changer. So there's that. But what I really liked was Brian working with Mark Savard, who is a hypnotherapist. And if you guys haven't listened to the episode, I've done 2 episodes with Dr. Edwards so far, which everyone seems to love. So if you care at all about your body, give it a listen. It's pretty fascinating, and he's a smart man. But I also did an episode with Mark Savard, and that episode was a game changer, because I didn't really believe in hypnotherapy or hypnotism. It's just kind of one of those things that's like, it seems a little weird, right? Well, after I did the episode, I hadn't even done a session with Mark, and I was convinced. I was like, this makes total sense. It was logical and it made sense. Brian's a very logical guy. So I'm like, you got to just give it a try. Well, he had 3 sessions with Mark before the fight, including even on fight day. And wow, I've never seen such a dramatic switch in an athlete. And you know, I know Brian really well. Obviously, we've been together for a long time, and the mental switch that I saw in that fight, in the lead up to the fight, was just incredible. So I'm really enjoying seeing that journey, and I know with more time and keeping that momentum going, we're going to see a whole new Brian Caraway. I promise you, something is different, and that next fight is going to be a game changer, and it's going to make a lot of people who are doubters believers. Trust me in that. I know what I'm talking about. And I know everyone is in a hurry to say, you know, 60 seconds after you've won a fight, what's next? What's next? Well, I encourage everyone to just pump the brakes a little bit. Let him enjoy this win. This is a big win. He was the biggest underdog on the card, actually, and betting odds wise. And he won. You know, people still want to try to discredit, but you're going to have to face the fact that he is in the top 5, and you know, he has goals. His mind is set on getting the title shot, and every single fight, people say, you know, he's not going to do it, and then he does it. So, you know, if you think that he isn't going to win the title, well, let's find out. You know, let's see. Let's let it happen. Let it unfold. And I think he will prove a lot of naysayers wrong. But in any case, Cody looked amazing that night as well, winning his fight. And there's going to be a lot of shaking up in that division, honestly, because we have Michael McDonald fighting John Lineker, which that will be very exciting to see what happens with that fight. And we also have TJ Dillashaw, who is going to be fighting Rafael Assunção. Now, Assunção has a win over Dillashaw and also has a win over Brian. So that will be very interesting to see how that shakes out, depending on who wins and what. So we're kind of letting the dust settle, and Brian just letting it all play out over these next couple weeks when those fights happen, and see what is next. But in any case, you can't argue. He has made his statement loud and clear, and we will see what happens next. now that UFC 199 is done, we're looking at UFC 200. Woohoo! I am pumped. I'm really excited because this is a big opportunity for me. I get to make my first title defense against Amanda Nunes, who I think is a very formidable opponent. I think that this is going to be a great challenge. And I hate that people may look at her as an easy win for me because I just don't agree. I mean, I hope you're right. I would love that. But honestly, I feel like people are underestimating her. And it's my job as the champ to not concede to that and to not listen to that, because I know that I need to prepare to fight the Amanda Nunes who finished Sarah McMahon. And, she's a very, very strong opponent and she's very well-rounded. And I think she's kind of a dark horse in that a lot of people are underestimating her. And I know, I hope, I would assume she's really training super, super hard. Title shots don't come around every single day. And contenders are hungry. You're always going to be fighting the next best girl. And, Amanda's fourth in the world. She's on a winning streak right now. And she's doing all the right things to be where she's at. And I definitely think that she deserves this opportunity. I will not be taking her lightly because I think that would be a huge mistake on my part. I'm preparing to fight Amanda at her best for 5 rounds. So I'm excited about this. I plan on making my first successful title defense. But beyond even that, at the moment, the breaking news, Brock Lesnar. Holy cow. Who saw that coming? I definitely did not see that one coming at all. I know that the UFC is good, but man, they are good. Like, where did that come from? Was he already thinking about making a return, or is this completely random? Did they just have to pull the white rabbit out of the hat for this or what? It's going to be crazy, but I'm very excited about it. It's going to be an epic fight card. Got to give a shout out to my girl Juliana Pena too. She'll be fighting Kat Zingano. That's going to be a great scrap. Jose Aldo and Frankie Edgar. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Not to mention the fights that are the 2 days leading up to make the whole fight weekend. It's going to be crazy, you guys. But I promise you, on my end, I'm going to show up ready and with the best game plan and the best coaches in the world and the best team behind me. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to rock Amanda's world, and it's going to be fun to watch. So you're not going to want to miss it. I promise. All right. So I'm going to start answering some of your questions. I appreciate you guys submitting those. Again, you can do so on my Facebook or my Twitter. Usually I'll prompt you guys. If you just submit them randomly, I might not see them. Sometimes they get lost in translation, but I do post to let you guys know when I'm going to be doing this. So when you see that prompt, or just periodically check in on my Facebook page, or follow me on Twitter and keep an eye out for that. So I'll make sure to post, and then you guys can put all the comments in the right area, and then I can answer your questions. All right, here we go. Question from Maria. Says, when you went to CWU and they had canceled the wrestling program, what sports were you planning on trying, and what kind of workouts were you having before you went to Brian's MMA club? That's a wonderful question. Very good question. Well, Maria, when they cut the wrestling program, they cut it, I think it was 2 years before I went there, and they didn't have a women's wrestling program anyway. So I don't know what that would have led to for me as far as wrestling goes anyways. But when I went there, I was trying to do the wrestling club sport, but it was really scarce of people that would go there, and it was mostly bigger guys. So I always had an interest in rugby. So I thought about that a little bit. I also kind of thought about maybe softball, but I hadn't decided. I hadn't found a niche when I discovered the mixed martial arts program, and then that just kind of stole my heart immediately. So I wasn't going to school for that long before I discovered, I guess, what you could call my destiny. At the time, I didn't know that. But so I started school in September. I want to say, yeah, by October, like October, mid-October, I think it was, that I finally went and tried the MMA club sport thing there at the school that Brian was running. And yeah, I fell in love with it right away. So who's to know what would have come about if that hadn't been there. All right, next question from Guy says, who do you think is the biggest threat to your title and why? Honestly, I think that I am the biggest threat to my title. I think right now, the only person who can beat me is myself. I think I'm always my biggest opponent. It's not necessarily the person who stands in front of me that's in my way. I have to make sure that I'm not in my own way, because I think if I allow myself to be the best version of myself, that I'm going to be hell on wheels for any female in my division. So I think that my biggest opponent is always myself, and that biggest hurdle is the one that you put in front of yourself. So getting over that is paramount to everything, and that's what's going to allow my skill set to come out and my heart to persevere, and all the things that I work for. You know, I just have to make sure never to set limitations on myself. So I think I'm my own biggest obstacle, but I'm also my own biggest critic and biggest key to success. So it's all a matter of keeping that in balance. All right, question from Christopher. Would you ever try American Ninja Warrior? You're an amazing athlete, so why not give it a try? Good point, Chris. Yeah, I definitely would. That's an addicting show to watch. It's super fun to watch. Something about it has always intrigued me. I used to watch that. I used to watch Fear Factor. I'm trying to remember any other ones. Survivor. And I always put myself in those situations like I could do, I think I could be good at that. I could do that. Especially when they used to eat the really disgusting stuff on Fear Factor. I always thought I would be good at the physical stuff, but I also think I have this mental block, and I use it sometimes when I'm fighting, where it's just like, it doesn't matter what it is. I like go into like robot mode, and I just know I have to do it. So I just do it. And I try not to, I don't think about it. I take the emotion out of it. So I always thought like, man, I could do so much better. Like those eating competitions, I know I could just get it done. I could just put my mind to the objective and just do it. But, back to American Ninja Warrior, I would definitely, give it a try. I think it would be super fun to try and be a part of. All right. Ian says, hi, Miesha. Most of the talk around weight cutting and new rules, what does a fighter do if they are stepping up a weight class and are not gaining weight? Well, if I understand the question correctly, it could mean two things. If a fighter is stepping up in a weight class and they're not gaining weight, they probably shouldn't have gone up in a weight class if they're needing to gain weight to be in that weight class. But if you're asking about those fighters that are, I call them tweeners, they're in between weight classes, and some of the weight classes, there's quite a difference, like between 170 and 185. I mean, a 15-pound jump at that weight is pretty substantial. And some of those guys, they're just a little too big for 170, but a little small for 185. And especially now with the no IV rules, like the IV ban, some of those guys are struggling to make the 170, but they're, like you said, they're too small. Like I said, too small for 185, because those guys are monsters. So if you're talking about trying to put muscle on, I mean, that's a whole in-depth conversation about nutrition and working out and really what's the best size for your body, because bigger is not always better. More muscle is not always better. That's also, you have to consider that that's more mass that your body and your heart and has to supply blood and oxygen to. So sometimes bigger isn't better, but sometimes cutting too much weight isn't better. So that's definitely an individual decision, something that each fighter has to make for themselves. But I feel like gaining weight as a fighter shouldn't be too much trouble. I feel like fighters like food. I know I do. I love food. But I stay pretty consistent with my weight. I try not to do the yo-yo dieting. So I just stay even keel. I don't have that much of a difference between my training camp and non-training camp, other than I drink more beer when I'm not in a training camp. And, I might eat a little bit more, occasionally, like something fried or something like that. But those are things that I don't typically do in my training camp. I really clean it up, and especially like the last 2 weeks, I really get very clean with my diet. Jamie says, "Hi Miesha, I've been a fan of yours for a long time, and before you won the title, a lot of people were calling you the gatekeeper of the UFC 135-pound weight division, and I was wondering what you thought of that." Well, I mean, it was one of those things. It's like, I mean, I have to kind of be honest. I did kind of put myself in a gatekeeper position, and although I didn't like it, I knew the only person to do anything about it was me. So the fact that people labeled me the gatekeeper kind of motivated me, because I didn't want to just be a gatekeeper. It's an insult, but it's also a compliment to call someone a gatekeeper, because like they beat everyone else, but then when it comes to that big moment, they don't quite have it. They're like 98% of the way there. So I'm like, man, if I can be 98% of the way there, I know I can make the difference, and I can make up for that extra 2% or 5%, even though other people didn't necessarily believe that I could or would. I believed it. I believed that I could, and I believed that I would. So I knew a gatekeeper was a temporary thing, and I knew that I would be able to prove everybody wrong, and that I wouldn't stay the gatekeeper. But in the time and place, I kind of was. Everyone was looking to make their name off of me. I was the stepping stone. Everybody knew, like, in my division, if I can beat Miesha, then I get a title shot. It was like an unwritten rule, I feel like. But the problem is that nobody beat me at that point. I kept beating everyone and went on that 4-fight win streak, and kept knocking all the other contenders out of the way so that I could get my title shot. And as you can see, it worked out. So no longer the gatekeeper. Wayne asks, after you beat Nunes, well, thank you for the words of encouragement and belief. It says, after you beat Nunes and after the Ultimate Fighter finale, if a deal could be done, do you think you could cut to 115 pounds healthily and fight for the strawweight title and hold 2 belts like Conor wanted to do? Well, no, I don't think I could make 115, to be quite honest. That is quite a jump, and I'm pretty lean walking around at I walk around typically 147 to 150-ish, and I'm pretty lean there. So I think I could make 125, and I don't think that would be too much of a problem. But 115, I don't think I would be healthy at that weight class. So unfortunately, I think that's out of the realm of possibilities. Shannon says, the night before a fight and the day of, how do you prepare yourself mentally so that you can conserve as much energy as possible before you step into the octagon? To me, it seems like one of your greatest strengths is your mental toughness, your ability to remain resilient and never panic. You obviously have the fighting skills, physical strength, and stamina, but you seem to also have a mental edge, and I was wondering if that just comes with experience or is a natural personality trait of yours, or if it's something you work on, or a combo of all. Good question. There's a lot of things that go into that, Shannon, honestly. Part of it, I feel like, is a deep-seated innate characteristic of myself that, I'll tell you something about myself. I hate stress. I really do. And everyone's going to say that they hate stress, but I really actually hate it. Like, I avoid it at all costs. I'm like, I'll pay the late fee on my bill just so that I don't have to stress about it right now. It's like I just avoid stress. If I lose something, I don't stress about finding it. I'll just I'll find a way around it. Like if I lose my socks and mismatches, I don't stress about it. I just go buy more socks. So like if I lose a charger, I'll just, I'll use one of the other ones around the house until I find that one, or I'll steal Brian's. And, he hates that. He's totally the opposite. When he loses something or it gets misplaced, he has to find that specific, whatever it is he's looking for, because he just has to know where it is. And like me, I'm like, it'll turn up. And usually it does. It's like somewhere weird, like my shoe, or sometimes I oddly put things in the refrigerator. I don't know why that is, like a habit of mine. Yeah, like, my keys or something, I'll like put them in the refrigerator on accident. I think I go to like grab something and I have my keys in my hand and I'll like set it down. I haven't done that in a while though, but I have done that before. But back to your question of staying, focused and reserving energy and mental strength. I think there's a big piece in not thinking about the fight too much. I feel like that can be really draining, and I try not to think about the fight as much as I can the week of the fight, and especially as the time is dwindling down, like after weigh-ins. I try to think about anything but the fight. I just go out, I have a nice dinner with my friends and family and team, and I just enjoy myself, and the fight isn't a topic of discussion. It's not, there's no need. Everything's already been done. The work has been put in, and I just want to breed confidence inside myself. I don't want to sit and think and wonder and ponder, and I don't want to waste any energy, physical, mental, or emotional, that's not going to help me win the fight. And I don't think sitting around the night before the fight, wondering and thinking and stewing over it, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's an efficient way to do it. So, anytime that thought comes in, I just try to push it out and replace it with another thought. And, when the moment comes to think about the fight and, it's go time, then I let all those emotions rush in, and I embrace it, and I embrace the excitement. I embrace the fear. I embrace the, I don't know, all those emotions. It's just, it's quite a whirlwind. And I think that's kind of what's addicting about it, is that it's such a crazy feeling, and it's kind of scary, but it's kind of exciting. It's kind of like maybe before you ride a roller coaster. And I know for every person, riding a roller coaster is different, and so is fighting. But for me, it's kind of that balance where it's like, ooh, what am I getting myself into? I can't believe I'm about to do this. But you're kind of excited too, because once you get off the roller coaster that you're going to be glad that you did it, and that it's going to be like exciting, and you're going to have a smile on your face. But when you're about to do it, you're kind of like, oh, this is crazy. Like, I'm about to scare the crap out of myself, and for some reason I'm still going to agree to do this. It's kind of the same thing, It's like, why am I going to go fight some random person that I don't even know, But, at the end of the day, it's just fun, and I try not to make it something that I don't love, because I do love fighting and I do love mixed martial arts, and I never want to make that into something that I don't enjoy. So I always try to remind myself of that. I think there's a moment when every fighter, before they walk out to their fight, wonders or asks themselves, why am I doing this? I feel like that always crosses my mind every time, like, why did I choose this profession? Why am I doing this? Why am I about to go fight someone and, in front of millions of people and accept the, the ridicule and criticism that comes, even if I win? Why? And, the answer for me is simple. It's just because I want to. That's why. And I remind myself of that, as I'm preparing to go out, that I want to do this, that I want to be there, and I want this opportunity. And that usually kind of helps put things in perspective, not let myself get overwhelmed or think about anything beyond that. Just that I love it. I'm there in the moment, and to embrace all the emotions that come with it. Alan asked, when you're at fight weight, hold on, I just messed up. Got to scroll. It says, here we are. Okay, I found my spot again. Alan, when you're at fight weight, do you walk around feeling hungry and thirsty all the time? How do you fight that? Well, Alan, I am only at my fight weight for like, I don't know, couple hours maybe. And then I'm rehydrating, drinking my coconut water, drinking my water, Pedialyte, all that good stuff, and eating. So I don't stay at fight weight more than like just that little bit to step on the scale. I walk around typically 12 to 15 pounds bigger than that. So that's usually get up or close to that, again, fight day. So to answer your question, the cutting weight process just refers to when you dehydrate yourself and you actually deprive yourselves of food, deprive yourself of liquids, and actually even go a step further to pull any extra water that you can out of your body. So when you step on the scale, it says a certain number, and then you go back and you get healthy again. you rehydrate and refuel up for the next day, which is a crazy concept. If you think about it, I don't know any other sport besides like boxing and mixed martial arts. And I recently learned from Dr. Edwards about jockeys. Like I didn't know that horse jockeys had to be a certain weight. I just thought like the lighter you are, the better for your horse and, speed and everything. But I did not know that. Learn something new every day. But in those sports where weight, a number on the scale actually means something, it's crazy because I don't know any other sport that would ask you to basically kill yourself the day before a competition and dehydrate yourself and malnourish and then say, okay, and now tomorrow, the next day we want you to be at your best and fight though. So it's kind of a crazy sport. It's a crazy concept, to be honest. And I believe how it originated was for betting. So they would, back in the day, show off the fighters essentially up on the stage and get everyone excited on who they wanted to bet on. So I believe that weigh-ins was more about that way back in the day, originally. And then it just became more of yeah, that's a good idea for sports. If it's going to be hand-to-hand combat or wrestling, whatever it is, let's make sure that the opponents are the same size. The problem is the weight cutting gets way out of control. Fortunately for me, I don't play too much into that. Like I said, I try to stay pretty consistent. I don't have crazy hard weight cuts. So I feel like it's perfect for me right now. I don't walk around hungry or miserable other than, the day before weigh-ins. Yeah, I'm not a happy camper because I'm not eating and I am dehydrating myself and all the works, all that really fun, not so fun stuff. But, that's just part of it. Not every part of everyone's job is going to be enjoyable. So I kind of take it for what it is. And it's kind of like the fight before the fight, honestly. Making weight is a fight in itself and kind of lets your mind rest at ease because you're focused on the making weight part. And then once the weight making part is done, it's like, yay, I get to eat and drink and do all this awesome stuff, which kind of makes you feel good and positive and excited. And I feel like that's, I don't know, it's just such a normal part of the process for me. I don't know if I would know how to do it any differently. All right, next, Jamie asks, when does Fight Valley come out? So Fight Valley is my first feature film, and it's going to be coming out to theaters July 22nd is when it premieres. So I'm excited about that. You guys, I don't think I'm going to win any Academy Awards or anything. It was my first time, no acting experience whatsoever, and it was actually a bigger role than I thought. So I kind of really got myself in. I just dove right into it, which is just my nature. That's what I did with MMA. That's what I did with acting. And, it was my first time. So it was fun. It was a great learning experience. I have yet to see really how I did. But you know what? I did find out that I do have a passion for acting, which blew my mind. Learned something about myself that I never would have thought. People always used to ask me, how do you think you want to act? I'm like, I don't know if I'd be very good at it. I'm not sure. I was like, And lo and behold, like I was in the middle of filming and I'm like, I really like this. I think I want to give this a whirl. So I gave it my best shot. So we'll see how the movie turned out, but I had a lot of fun and hopefully more things like that will come my way because that's what I'm all about. I'm all about passion and doing what you love, or doing what I love. And I think acting is something that has intrigued me. Obviously, first and foremost comes defending my belt and fighting and all those things, but there's a lot of time in between camps where I have downtime. That's the beautiful thing about my job is I work so hard when I'm in that training camp. I don't have a lot of time for other things, and I miss out on birthdays. I miss out on holidays. I've missed out on Christmas. I've missed out on Thanksgiving. I've missed out on Halloween. I've fought on my birthday before. Brian's fought on my birthday. I mean, there's been so many times that there's so many sacrifices. 4th of July, that's a common one that I miss a lot, which is actually one of my favorite holidays. But the beauty in that is that once the fight is over, I have time to do whatever it is again that I love, whatever I'm passionate about. I can take that month of time or 2 months, depending on what it is, and I can still train. I can still do what I love, but I can take also some time to do some different things and broaden my horizons. I can travel around the world. I can take those opportunity, that time to try my hand at acting or whatever it may be. But that's also the other beautiful part about my job is it gives me a lot of flexibility. You know, when I'm in the thick of the training camp, my life is on lock and I don't have a lot of opportunity. But, you know, when I'm out of it, it's a whole different ballgame. Alexi asks, "Hi, Miesha. Do you ever have bad workouts? And if so, what do you do to keep yourself motivated after one? Keep kicking ass. You're amazing." Thanks, Alexi. Yeah, everyone has bad workouts. Everyone has bad days. I'm no different. And I hate it if I have a bad sparring day. I really hate it. Like it bothers me. I'm so competitive. It can bother me for days until I have my next sparring session, which 9 times out of 10 is better. You know, it's just, you have ebb and flow during training camps and I think in life in general. But, if I have a bad workout or I have a day that I'm not feeling that great, I just know that there's always tomorrow. And my thing is getting through the workout. There's been times when, you know, I'm 20 minutes into practice and it's so hard already. I'm like, how the hell am I going to make another hour of this? There's no way. And my body will tell my mind that it's tired, and my mind will tell my emotions that it's, you know, that we're exhausted and we can't keep going. And then it kind of comes back again the other way. My emotions and my mind start battling. And the thing is just to not walk away from it, not quit, not give up in that moment. Because for me, at least, I always feel so much more rewarded when I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. And then I get through it. You know, it's just minute by minute. If you have to, second by second, just keep the objective small. Don't look at the whole practice. Don't look at the whole workout. You know, if you're doing a weightlifting set, maybe you're doing 5 sets of 10, don't look at it as 50. Say like, okay, I have 10 to do right now. You know, then you take your break. Okay, I have 10 to do, another 10 to do right now, but it's each time it's just 10. It's not 50, it's just 10 until you've done it 5 times. And then you're like, wow, I did 50. Then you can kind of look at the big picture. But I think if you're struggling in the middle of a workout or, you know, you're having a bad day, sometimes just simplifying what you're doing can help a lot. And for me, I don't know, that makes a big difference. And I hope those are some words of advice that will help you out, Alexi. All right, this one is from E. How do you feel about Brock's fight being listed above yours as the co-main event for UFC 200? Care? Don't care? Well, 2 things. Brock Lesnar is a huge draw, and I'm excited. I'm very excited that he's on the card. And you know what? Life is life sometimes. It's not always going to be 100% fair, but like, what do I have to complain about? This is going to be an amazing card that I'm honestly honored to be a part of. And this is going to help my brand and my star power develop. And hopefully, with the help of everyone else who's on that card, it's going to help me. We're all going to have a great synergy, and people will watch. They're going to see me successfully defend my title, and I'm going to gain more fans, and I'll be able to carry bigger cards in the future. So for me, it's all positive. I have to look at the glass half full, and this is going to just make the card that much better, and it's going to make everybody's paycheck hopefully a little bit better too. So, at the end of the day, we all win, and I've got to be thankful. I'm just very thankful that Brock's going to be a part of this card. Now I have to laugh at this one. This will probably be the last question that I answer, even though this is really silly. But Jeff asks, any preference on who your next opponent is? Jeff, have you not been reading my Twitter or my Facebook or listening to my podcast? Because my next opponent is Amanda Nunes, July 9th, UFC 200, T-Mobile Arena. And it's going to be awesome. So that's who my preference is in my next opponent, because that's who it is. And if you're talking about, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you mean the next opponent after Amanda. To me, there is no next opponent. There is only Amanda, and she has my full attention, because if I don't beat Amanda, there might as well not be another opponent. There might as well not be another fight. So July 9th is the end of the world to me. That's the do or die day. And Amanda is the woman that will be standing in front of me, across from me, prepared to fight me and try to take what is mine. And I've got to be focused on that. I've got to be focused solely on Amanda. And I cannot let her take that belt. I will not let her take that belt. I'm training hard. This is one of the best camps I've had. I've been asking for quick turnarounds in my fight career, and I'm pumped that now that I'm the champion, that I can roll that momentum straight from the win over Holly Holm and capturing that belt straight into this training camp. I'm feeling good. I'm super excited. So please watch the fight. It's going to be amazing. You guys are not going to want to miss this. I promise you, it's going to be a whole new and improved Miesha, like it is every time. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to win in the best fashion you've ever seen from me. And I'm going to finish this fight. Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate every one of you who submitted questions. It's always fun to reach out and touch base directly with the fans. So once a month, I still plan on doing this sort of question answer, fan inspired type of episode. I hope that you enjoyed, and keep any questions that you may have in mind, and keep a lookout on my Facebook page, the Miesha Tate fan page, or on my Twitter.